In this video I'm going to show you how to use AbstractArt Photoshop action. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use this photo here as an example for a demonstration of the action, and this is the effect that I'm going to create. Okay, so as you can see what action does, uh, it creates these abstract artistic effects from your photos. So it will turn your subject, it will make your subject painted from brush paint strokes, right? And you can also see the textures. The action comes with 20 watercolor high quality and resolution textures, and there are a lot of options for customizing the results, and there are also 10 preset color looks that the action creates, so that you can you can choose from. You can also combine those 10 color looks to create even more. Right, so let me just close this window. So before you use the action, there are a couple of things that you should check to make sure the action will run without any errors. So the first thing that you should check is that your photo is a background layer. So it should be called the background, and you have this little lock icon. So if you have something like this or anything else, just go to layer, new, and just choose a background from layer. Also click on this menu icon here and choose panel options, and just make sure you got this option here checked, right? Add copy to copied layers and groups. Then go to the image mode and make sure your photo is in RGB color mode, 8-bit channel, and check the image size here. So the resolution can be anywhere between 72 to 300 ppi, and the image size should be at least 1500 pixels wide or high. Alright, so also keep in mind that if you use too large photos, that the brush strokes may appear too small, or also if you use too small images, the brush strokes may appear too large, right? So it's the best to use the images that are around 20 to 1300 pixels wide or higher, right? So to load the action, just go to Window, Actions, click on the menu icon, Load Actions, and just choose the action that can be downloaded. Okay, the action will appear in your Actions panel. And then to load the brushes, you can just press B on your keyboard, and to select the brush tool, right click anywhere inside the canvas, click on the gear icon, and just choose load brushes, and just choose the brush file that can be downloaded. Alright, the brush will appear in your brushes panel, and excuse me, then go to the layer, new, and choose a new layer. To create a new layer, and just name it brush, and it's very important that all letters are lowercase. You must write the brush exactly like this. Okay, and pick a brush tool, pick some soft brush, and just brush over your subject. You can choose any color, so the color is not matter, right? So just choose some color. You can clearly see the areas where you have brushed, and just brush like this. You don't have to be too precise here. And you can use the square brackets on your keyboard to make the brush that you're using larger or smaller. Alright, just like this. And you can always use a eraser tool. You can also choose a soft brush to remove the brush if you have brushed on some places where you didn't want it, right? Just like this. Okay, so, and all you have to do now is to select the AbstractArt action here and click play. The action will stop for 2 times, asking you to choose the texture. So I'm going to fasten the video here and get back to when the first message shows. Okay, so here's the first message. So it says, in next pop-up window, choose the texture that you like and click place. After you place it, hit enter and the action will continue to work. Choose continue to proceed. So just choose continue and open the texture folder and choose any of those textures, right? So I'm gonna choose this one, just click place. And now you can rotate the texture, and you can also hold the shift button and just drag some of these corners to scale the texture, but to keep the proportions. So that's why it's worth to hold the shift button. and after you place this like, all you have to do is to hit enter, and the action will continue to work. And you will be also able to um, later, after the action is finished, you'll be able to scale, rotate, and move the texture. So it's not too much important how you will place it now, right? So just gonna click hit enter. Okay, so here's the second message, and it says in next pop-up window, choose second texture that you like and click place. And also after you place it, hit enter, and the action will continue to work. Choose continue to proceed. So just choose continue, and now choose your second texture. So we're just gonna choose this one here. I'm gonna scale the texture again a little bit. Just gonna rotate it. Alright, and this is the last message. So now I'm just gonna hit enter and then pause the video again and get back when the action is finished, and then I'm going to go through all the layers to show you how can you customize the results that you got. Okay, so the action has just finished, so I'm going to close the action panel for now. And the first thing that we probably want to do is to quickly close down all these folders, and how to easily do that is to just hold Ctrl and Alt buttons for PC or Command Option for Mac, and just click on this little arrow here while this group is selected, and it will be automatically selected by the action. So this, okay, and that way we close down the folders. So the first layer we got here is the brush layer that I made at the beginning of the video, and if you wish to play the action again using for example, you can just delete this group, and if you wish to add some more areas to this brushed area, you can just brush wherever else you wanted, and you can play the action again. And also, if you want just to play the action using the same brushed area, because the action is made so every time you run the action, you will get a different, unique result. So the brush strokes will only have will be a little differently arranged, have a different form. So you can just delete these AbstractArt folder, and you can just play the action again using the same brushed area, and you're going to get a unique result. Alright, so I'll just get back to this folder now. I'm just going to turn off the brush layer for now. So the first what we got here are the adjustments folder. So I'm just going to skip this folder for now, and I'm going to get back to it after I finish with customizing of the effect. Right, so the first group we got next is the overlay textures. So when you open the folder, you got two textures here, paper texture, and you got a canvas texture. So both of these are the smart objects, and what it means, so you can just choose, I'm going to choose this texture here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Right, and what you can do is just double click on this filter gallery here, and you can make any changes to the texture. So I'm just gonna increase this to about 3. Alright, just like this. And after you click OK, it will be automatically updated the layer here. Alright, so you can also change the opacity of this layer by clicking the word opacity, dragging it aside. And you also got this layer mask here, so if you wish to remove the texture any place, you can just set this layer mask, set foreground color to black, and simply brush where you wish to remove it. Right, so the next group we got here are the textures. Just turn it on. Right, so these are the textures that you have chosen when the action has asked you. Alright, after the messages. So here we got the texture 1 and texture 2, and both textures has these colors. So if you wish to change, you can now press Ctrl T and rotate or scale or move your texture using a move tool. Alright, and you can also double click on this color box here, and you can just choose any other color to change the color of your texture, and you can also use this color picker to some color from your subject. Alright, just like that. So just gonna modify this color a little bit, something like this, and just gonna make it a little bit brighter. Alright, something like this. Or just gonna use a darker color here actually. So Just gonna drag this all the way down, something like this. Okay, just choose OK. And when you double click on this texture, you see there are some changes here, and what you're choosing here is actually just gonna reset them to the default it is. So when you drag this pointer, you're actually setting that in this range of the blacks on your photo, the texture will blend it, right? So the texture will blend with the, and it says here underlying layers, so it will be blended on the black with these black colors on your photo, right? And when you hold the Alt or Option and click here and split this pointer, you will actually make the transition smoother, right? So I'm just gonna move this one to 0, and just gonna move this one over here. So I'm gonna set it about 100, and I'm also gonna hold the Alt or Option here to here you're choosing the excuse me, the range of colors of white. All right, so let me just set it to something like this. All right, just zoom out a little bit. And you also got the layer mask here, so you can just select the layer mask, pick a brush tool, and what to do is to pick some of these stroke brushes, and using a black color here, just brush or the place where I wish to remove the texture. Alright, just like this. And just gonna change the color to this one here. So here I'm just gonna use some brighter color. Alright. Maybe someone from here. Alright, something like this. And just gonna change the blending, so just gonna move these pointers here. Alright. So just gonna close the texture folder. Also got this main layer mask here, so you select this layer mask, you can brush with the black, you can remove any of those two textures, right? And also what you got here is when you double click on this texture here, you can go to the file and place embedded, and you can just replace this texture with some other, and when you choose go to file and choose save, this texture will be automatically replaced over here. Okay, this file will be updated with your new texture, so you don't have to play the action again to just change the texture. So let's see what we got next here. Here are the brush strokes. Alright, and they are layered. Okay, and these three here have the blending mode set to normal, and these two got the screen, and this one got a multiply. So this one is just gonna create some darker strokes, and these two layers gonna create some brighter strokes, right? And you can change the opacities of any of those, and each of these layers has these color boxes, so when you double click there, you can change their colors. Alright, so I'm just gonna change the color of this one here. Alright, so just gonna choose a little bit darker color here, and I'm gonna select the layer mask of this layer. I'm just gonna brush with a black a little bit to remove these strokes some places, right? And I'm just gonna change the color of this one too. So just gonna double click on the color box, and let's choose some color. Maybe a little bit brighter one. Alright, something like this. And also what I like to do is to select these layer mask here. So each of these layers get a layer mask. You can remove any part of the strokes of each of these layers by brushing black into each layer mask. But this layer mask here is the main for all of those layers. So I'm just gonna choose some of these layers. Choose this one. You can change the size using the square brackets. And using a black color, just gonna remove some of the strokes. Alright, that are revealing a little bit of the background. So just gonna remove a little bit of here, a little bit of here. Alright, just like this. And you can always use a white color to reveal some of the strokes that you have removed previously, right? So what I'm going to do now is to just select this layer here. It says add more strokes, and you got the here it says brush white into the mask. So you can just select this layer mask and choose any of those layers. Choose this one. I'm sorry, choose any of those brushes, and wherever you brush with a foreground color white, you're gonna start revealing your photo, right? So you can add the strokes wherever you like. Okay, as you can see, the action will make some areas not filled on your photo. So just choose select this layer mask, and if you wish to add more strokes, set foreground color to white, and just gonna brush like this to fill those areas here. And for example, as you can see, I can add the brushstroke here because you got this layer mask here. So just select this layer mask and brush with the white, right? And just gonna change, keep it a white color. Just gonna brush a little bit here, a little bit here, and just gonna fill those areas a little bit as well. And feel free to change the brushes. Just like this. Maybe a little bit also over there. Let's just choose some other brush. Alright, let me just brush a little bit over here. That's it. And just gonna close this folder. And let's see what we got here. We got a sketch. So if we turn this off and textures, this is a sketch. You got a main sketch, and you got this row sketch. Alright, that goes only around the edges of your subject. And I'm just gonna select this one. I'm gonna lower the opacity a little bit so you can just play with these opacities. Alright, so just click with word opacity and drag it to the left side to decrease the opacity, or to the right side to increase the opacity. I'm gonna set it like this, and you can remove any part of the sketch by brushing black into this layer mask, or if into this main layer mask. For example, I can just gonna remove a little bit of these details here. So just gonna brush like this. Alright. So I'm brushing with a black color to this layer mask. So just gonna turn on these folders, and what we got here is the background textures. So we got these two textures, and what you can do is also to change their opacities. Just gonna leave this to 100, and I'm just gonna lower the opacity of this one here like this, and you can also drop the opacity of the whole folder like this if you like, right? And here we got a background color. So when you double click on this color box, you can change the color to any color that you like, right? I'm just gonna keep it default. And you got a gradient overlay here, so when you double click there, if I just turn this off and on, you'll see it has the light source in the middle of the canvas. So what you can do is you can change the opacity here to make this light source to decrease or increase its densities. I'm just gonna leave it default, and now I'm just gonna get back to the adjustments folder, and let's see what we got here. We got the brightness, overall brightness, so you can change the brightness using these 3 pointers here. You got the overall vibrance saturation. We double click here, you can change the brightness, the vibrance and saturation. I'm gonna set it to something like this. Alright, this is the overall contrast, and how you change the contrast is you just click into the opacity and also drag it to into the side, and you can see this is very sensitive. Just gonna use some lower value like this. Here we got a photo tint, so when you double click here, you can choose any filter here. You can even choose some specific color, alright, and you can then change the density. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this filter, and here we got a 10 color looks. So all you have to do is to select some of them, turn it on, see how it looks. If you don't like it, you can simply turn it off and try with another. Or what you can do is, for example, turn on this one, just gonna lower its opacity, and turn this one, lower its opacity. So you can then play with the opacities, and on that we can combine a few color looks, right? And just gonna use this one. Alright, so let's just quickly see the before and after. But before that, we also got here the sharpen action. So after you finish with customizing, just select the sharpen action, click play, and the action will create this overall sharpening layer, overall sharpening. So you just click at with opacity and control the sharpen. I'm just gonna drop it to something like this. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with this effect. Just gonna check the before and after. So this is the before, and this is the after. Okay, so I hope you understood everything, but if you got any questions or you need any help, feel free to send me a message via my Envato profile page, and thanks for watching.